Magical. Hey, how's it going? Hey, I'm going to get the big shot here. Hold on one moment. There we go. Hi, this is Blake. Welcome to Tech Talk Live. Today, what are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about the YC series and how it connects to a DAW. So YC DAW connectivity. Pretty cool. Basically, when you get a YC, not only do you get a very cool stage keyboard with a cool organ section, key section, effects, lightweight, great feeling, all the great things that you get with the YC, you also have a USB audio and MIDI interface direct to the computer. That is very cool. And there's some great things that I really, in particular, dig about this. Part of it is just that one-to-one connectivity, the simple connection, kind of gets me, I feel like, from a creative standpoint, especially when you're dealing with creating keyboard parts and stuff, it's kind of a, the streamlinedness of it is conducive to creativity, I find. You know, you don't have to worry about where things are coming in and all these different connections and stuff. And a lot of times when you have a multi-channel interface, which is cool, and I definitely have one of those because I'm going to need that if I want to bring in a condenser mic and record vocals and stuff. But when I'm doing the creative process, there's something I really like about a simple connection. So today I'm just going to talk about some workflow things on how to set that up and what that's about. So let's take a look at the big board here, which is this thing right here. You can see this, right? Yes? I hope you're seeing this. I know I'm seeing this. This is Cubase right up here that I'm using. Now, DAW, you can use any DAW with this pretty much. All you need is the Yamaha Steinberg USB driver installed on your Windows or Macintosh computer, either one, and that will negotiate the MIDI and the audio. And DAWs have different ways of finding where the connections are located. But once you find that, once you figure out, like in whatever DAW where that's located, in fact, I'll show you right now where it's located inside of Cubase. Basically, you have your setup in here. Sometimes in certain DAWs, it's under preferences if you're a Mac user. But in this case, it is under this area here, Studio Setup. So this will just show you, here's the YC series I have selected here as my audio interface. It sees all my audio interfaces, which is cool, and I have quite a few because I have cameras that are connected to this that also will show up as an audio interface. But when I want to do, you know, bring in another instrument, like an actual guitar player or a singer, you know, I would just select my Steinberg interface here or whatever I'm using there. But for now, we're using the YC because that's kind of my direct interface here. So right there, I don't want to switch it. So YC series is here. And then you have MIDI port set up right here. and it sees all the MIDI ports, and I've turned some things off here. But basically, a DAW will see the YC series as a 2-port interface. What does that mean? Well, port 1 is dedicated to the YC internal sounds. Port 2, like a lot of things that we make, allows you to connect via the standard MIDI output on the back of this instrument, go into a external tone generator, and you can now use this as a MIDI interface, which is pretty handy. So if you have a multi-timbral tone generator, for example, or any tone generator, you can connect to the MIDI right here, the physical MIDI, and select port 2 in the DAW, and it will transmit to that, that tone generator. Pretty cool. Very nice. So there's the setup right here for setting these things up. Now, I have this little thing that I kind of started in the middle here to show you what I've done here. The first thing I want to do is show you how to record MIDI tracks. MIDI tracks, very simple. I have basically, in this case, I've already recorded audio tracks, and I'll talk about that and what I did here. But I have some MIDI tracks already set up here. Now, the ones that are muted here, I'm going to talk about this. This is part of my workflow that I really like about this. Basically, let me tell you what you heard. The drums and the bass are, I'm using virtual instruments for those. I just wanted to use a bass in here for that, and that's this Halion 6. It's a bass plugin that they have for that particular software. And then because there's no drums in the YC, I needed some drums, so I have this cool virtual drummer right here, Groove Agent. There it is right here, and you can see I can play the virtual instrument right here. So that's one thing. I'm going to show you some other things that are cool about virtual instruments as well when I go over to RetroLog. But so that's everything else, though, that you heard in this audio tracks that I rendered. So I had a horn section, and I'll bring up my horn section that I used on this. Where is it at? Let me go to this horn section. So this is actually coming from the YC. And what it is, it's a brass section. Here, let me show you, because I can give you a close-up of my screen here. There it is. So it's this one right here. It's called Brass Jazz Flute. So it's the sforzando brass, meaning that when I hit it, it'll go. The brass gets louder, right? Sforzando. And then I put. So I recorded that sound right there as a MIDI track, and it's actually right here on the. Let me solo that track for you. So it's right here. In fact, let's make sure that we're dialed in here. Here, there's one of the corn kicks right there. You can really hear it right here too. So, you know, I use that sound. The thing that's cool about this, there's a simplicity to this, no question, with the YC. It's not multi-timbral. It's only on one channel. But I kind of like that because it allows me to kind of focus in on what I'm doing. And then when I'm ready to commit, I just rendered that track, which is up here. It says YC horn section. Now let me solo that one, and I'll mute this one here. And you'll hear exactly that. That's the audio track playing there. See? Pretty cool, isn't it? So that's how I use this instrument. With this particular groove, I made the drums and the bass first, and then I added the additional parts as needed. So I have things in here like an organ comp right here. That's the organ comp here, right? And I'm going to solo that channel right here for you so you can hear what that sounds like. So here is, and let me bring this up, or this is the WR comp. Sorry, that is the... one more time here. Let me hide this. Hold on. WR comp. So this was the electric piano comp. So you're going to hear it right here. And what I wanted to do here is show you the MIDI data. Now, you're not hearing the MIDI data right now. In fact, I still have that brass flute up here. You're hearing the audio of the rendered track. See it right there? So that's a cool workflow right here. That's what I'm showing you is how I did this track. By recording MIDI, when I get it correct, I then render that as an audio. I'll do this all for you live here in a moment because I'm going to record some MIDI and audio here. But I kind of want you to see exactly what I'm doing here. So I have in here, my MIDI tracks, once I'm done with those and I have those rendered up here as audio, I just mute them and put them in this folder here. If I ever want to go back and fix that, change that or whatever, I can go in and do the same thing, get rid of that audio track, recreate the MIDI track, and then render it again. And that's what I'm doing. And once I'm done with that, I put the MIDI tracks in this folder and mute it because they're there and I don't need them. And I have these now set as audio tracks, right? Makes sense? It's pretty cool. So let's talk about, first off, recording MIDI tracks. So what I want to do here, let's see. Let's start with a little organ solo out front. So I'm going to select an organ sound here. Right? Okay. And I have a little intro figure right here, right? Oh, I forgot I started with the organ. So I'm going to go to an electric piano first, which I have right here. So we'll start with the electric piano right out front. Here it is, right? No organ. Organ is comping. I already did my comping part. So let's just go ahead and record MIDI. Now, you select over here. DAWs are different in how they select their, where you select your MIDI inputs and outputs. In this case, I have just the YCs right here, and you want YC series port 1, right? And for the output, you want YC series port 1 because it has to talk to itself. Another thing that I need to show you, it's very important when you're using a DAW, some of you probably already know this, in the YC, it's under the menu right here, and you see it menu in my screen here. I'm going to go to General, and right here is where local control is. Notice that that is set to off. So turn off local control. Why? Because you don't want to get that weird chorusy sound of two notes, the note coming in, hitting the note coming out, because it's make this little MIDI loop. What you want is local control out, so it eliminates that from happening. Cool? Okay. So I have that set here. We're good to go here. And now I'm just going to hit record, and I'll record my little. I kind of made some mistakes there, but check this out. So I have just recorded my MIDI track. And what I like to do here is I'll open this up, and maybe I should have just recorded that again, but there's some mistakes in here. If I find like this is a mistake here, I'm going to get rid of that one right here. So I get it how I want it, right? I get it to where it sounds good enough for me. And I am going to now, I would probably put it on a separate audio track. So I'm going to go ahead and create an audio track real quick. And YC series in here, it's a stereo track. We're going to call this WR intro, right? So record the audio track or MIDI track first, get it where you like it. When you're ready to go, you literally go right here to that intro, and I have this playing right here. And it's not going to record anything else because, again, this is just one channel that's recording, so you're not going to hear any of the other ones. Plus, I have these all muted out. Anyway, all you're going to hear and all that's going to be recorded is this track right here, right? So let's do it. WR intro right here. Boom. And just record it. So this is what I do. I just render the track. And there it is. Better track on this. Okay. Let's say that was awesome. But check it out. Now, once I have this the way I want it, that was the electric piano right up front here. I'll just mute that. So it's muted now. And I probably want to rename this as something like electric piano intro or whatever, so I know what it is. I really find it very cool to be able to have folders like this. Most DAWs, in fact, I don't know one that doesn't have some way to organize your stuff, but it's so cool to. I find this is something that I learned over the years. Organize your stuff when you're recording. It makes it so much easier because you can find things. If you just record tracks and have them all over the place, I know a lot of you have done this. I know I used to work like that, but when I would open up a project, I'd have all these tracks and I didn't remember what it was. They just say audio 01, audio 02, or MIDI 01, MIDI 02. So I got into the habit of naming things so I at least have some idea, some clue what's happening, especially when it gets to be a little bit more complicated. So just a little tip there when you're using the DAW. And here it is, by the way. Check it out. Let's go from the top again. Right? There it is. Let's hear it in context. So I've recorded MIDI, I've recorded audio. Pretty cool. Let's talk about another thing that I think is really slick about the YC is controlling and dealing with virtual instruments. So I have this cool one right up here that's called Retrolog. Retrolog is a cool. Now, just to point this out, I like to also put the MIDI inputs right here. So it's YC series port 1. It was looking at all MIDI inputs, which is fine if you have multiple keyboards and you want to select. But I like to also, kind of control that too. So I'm just using YC series port 1 to control Retrolog. And then the destination is not back to itself. It's over to the Retrolog. I could have put YC series, port 1 if I was playing a YC series song, but I'm not. I'm playing Retrolog. Here it is. Now, there's some cool things about setting things up. First of all, everything in the YC sends out MIDI. I'm going to show you this in a second too when I record an organ because it's really cool how this works too. Because my front panel, an active front panel, can control something, all you have to do is tell the virtual instrument where that's coming from. So in this case, the cutoff frequency, for example, well, I want to control that in real time. I don't want to sit here and do this, right? That's not fun with a mouse. No, I want to set it to maybe this pre-drive right here. Now, it's not using the organ. There's no organ sound because I'm controlling Retrolog. This has nothing to do with what's happening here. But I do want this active to control that. So you right-click on here and you just go Learn CC. And as soon as I move something, there it is. It's that simple. You can map this entire system. Let's say I wanted to maybe map a drawbar. Now, granted, the drawbar is going to work opposite because when you pull the drawbar down, it's not like a fader, but it's going to work the same way. If I want this drawbar, for example, to control the attack, I just say Learn CC and move that drawbar, and look at that. Now, see, if I pull it down, it goes up. If I push it in, it goes the other way, but you get the idea. Let's say I don't want to use that one. Well, okay, how about I put it next to, I used pre-drive for this one. I'll control the attack time with this volume control right here. So I'm going to forget that CC, and I'm going to go over here to attack, and I'm going to learn this CC here. Boom. So now I have attack, and I have cutoff frequency and attack. So two controls. I can map this however I want, and I'd save it as a live set maybe, something like that, so I know kind of what I was using before on this, but isn't that slick? And the other thing that's cool, once again, because this is an audio and a MIDI interface, I have the MIDI control right here, but I also have the return back on the, I also have the, turn that up a little bit. What's wrong with this one? Okay, I'm ready to go now. So now let's say I want to go to, where is a good spot to do? I have my marker track so I can find things. How about we do it on the last bridge? I'm going to record Retrolog right here. I'll bring up Retrolog again so you can see it. Hello, Retrolog. You can see where I'm recording. I'm going to record right here. I'll give myself one measure in, hit record, and I'll move the cutoff frequency here as well while I'm doing this. So it'll be cool. Here we go. Let's do it. I have a MIDI track playing there because I forgot to mute it out. But there you go. I just recorded a Retrolog track. What was just loud here? Hello, Mr. Loud. Somebody was recorded. All right, so check it out. I'm going to solo this track right here. And let me bring up Retrolog so you can see this. So what I recorded here, let me move this up. Here it comes. You'll see that. See it? Is this not awesome? MIDI tracks, audio tracks, controlling a virtual instrument. The last thing I want to do here before I go, because I just think this is cool, and it reminds me, if you saw, I think it was the NAMM show when we released the YC 2020, the last one, but Dom Segalis did this really cool using the YC with Cubase, and one of the things I thought was cool is that he made a little light show using the drawbars on the drawbar organ, which is pretty cool. So I will show you how cool that is right now by recording. I'll put my organ in right here. Is this the one I want to use? Yes, this track here. I want to go back to maybe where I started my my little tune here. Let me close off some of these folders. That's another thing I like about having folders is that it makes it easier to see things. So I just close down my audio, my virtual instrument track, so I can kind of focus in exactly on where I wanted to start, which is right here. Okay, now check it out. I'm going to do some upper manual stuff here, and I'll move the drawbars whilst I'm recording it like this. Oops, let's not have it on solo. Sorry, I had the track solo. I want mutes on, but I definitely do not want solos on. Okay, one more time. Let's hit it. Okay, you get the idea. Now check this out. Let's play it back. Watch now. Okay, I'm gonna now. This is something else that happened. It doesn't reset, so it's not gonna go back to the beginning. But I'll start where my initial sound was located here. It's right here. Now we'll play this back. See these drawbars move around here. See? Rotary speaker fast. Isn't that cool? So, again, everything on the front panel, as long as you have that section active, is recorded. All those knobs, everything, it records. It's cool that way. Simple. Again, it's a simple connection to the computer for MIDI and audio. Now when I'm ready to, say, record that organ solo if I want to, I would just open up a new MIDI or audio track and record the organ solo. Boom, done. When you're done, once you get it mixed, you go in, you hit on Cubase, it's just over here, export, audio mixdown, and you can quickly do an audio mixdown track of it. Super slick, is it not? It's kind of hard for me to see. I only have two monitors here, so I'm not seeing the questions go by here. But if there are any, hopefully we have someone. Let me see. Yeah, bounce and play, sure. Yeah, there's a render MIDI track. I see somebody's saying these things in here. You can do it different ways in different DAWs, but you get the idea. So that's a basic walkthrough on how you can record MIDI, how you can record audio, and how you can control virtual instruments with the YC and a DAW. Again, I use it all the time. I can't tell you how cool this is to have this very simple connection with a single instrument that does both the audio and the MIDI stuff there. So, there you have it. Pretty cool, I think. Don't you? Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about web resources that we have out here for you for the Yamaha synthesizer and stage piano, stage keyboard owner. We have Yamaha Synth. Yamaha Synth is all things Yamaha Synth. We have lots of articles. I'm working on an article series right now on drum programming. I have 2 new articles up there right now, but there's going to be some more about just some ideas about how to do drum programming. We also have a forum up there where you can ask questions. Lots and lots of articles on virtually every single instrument that we make and in our synthesizer department. MX, Reface series, Montage, ModiX, YC, CP, all up there at Yamaha Synth. IdeaScale. IdeaScale is a forum where you can put your ideas up for a Yamaha Synth. So if you have an idea for a Yamaha Synth, or you have an idea that might be a feature request to add to something to one of our synthesizer stage pianos, please go up to IdeaScale and check it out. There's lots of things that people have already put up there. If you see something that you agree with, go ahead and like that. But join that community. We absolutely take a look at those ideas every week, actually. Every other week, every week, you know. But we do, on a regular basis, go through all the ideas put up on IdeaScale and get those to our developers to find out if there's a way that we can implement that stuff. So that's IdeaScale. The link to IdeaScale, the Yamaha Synth forum in IdeaScale, are in the description on this video right here. SoundMondo. SoundMondo is our free social sound sharing site. Supports all of our synthesizers, Reface, YC series, CP, Montage, and ModiX. You can upload sounds. You can download sounds. There's over, 80,000 sounds up there for free. Very cool form. Or rather, very cool site for social sound sharing. There's SoundMondo. You have to use the Google Chrome browser for this because it has a direct connection using USB to your computer. Very simple. Or you can use the iOS app that's available at the App Store, SoundMondo. That's what it is, social sound sharing. SoundCloud. SoundCloud is where we have our Behind the Synth podcast. We also have lots of cool audio files, demonstration files up there on SoundCloud. So once again, the link to our SoundCloud is in the description. Check it out. There's some really cool podcasts up there that we have interviewed lots of different artists. We also have myself and Nate Cheddar going through some of the synthesizers in our Synth Lab up there. Lots of cool stuff. SoundCloud. Check it out. Finally, the music production guide. This is put together by Hans-Peter Hinkel in Germany. This is a great guide that they go back, I guess, about 11 years now, that have different articles on using your instrument. Sometimes they have some cool interviews. It's a great guide. It really looks good too. It is in PDF format, but you print it out, it's like really nice, like a magazine. So check it out. Go to the music production guide, and you sign up. You have access to 10 years. So if you're a Motif user and you want to check out something for your older synthesizers, there's some cool articles on the Motif series in previous music production guides. There it is, a music production guide. Here is our link to our questions. If you want to ask a question, please fill it in. I don't think we had any real questions. I think we had a comment this week, and there really wasn't a question in there, so I couldn't really answer it. But if you have a question that you'd like us to go over on Tech Talk Live, please ask the question at this link right here. Right, you can see it right there. I'm not going to read it to you because you can see it right there. So thank you so much for watching this edition of Tech Talk Live on YCDAW Connectivity. Next week, we're going to talk about drum programming. Since I'm writing that series, hey, I'm going to show you some cool ways to use Montage and ModiX, the cool tools inside the instrument that you can really do some neat stuff to create grooving and interesting drum grooves, drum programming. So that's next week on Tech Talk Live. Thank you so much for watching, and until next week at this time, this is Blake signing off. Have a good one. See ya.